The hospital was alive with its usual symphony of hurried footsteps, hushed voices, and the faint beeping of monitors. Sunlight poured through the tall windows, casting golden patches across the polished floors. Dr. Meredith Hale moved quickly through the corridor, her white coat trailing behind her like a banner of authority. People greeted her with nods of respect. She was one of the best surgeons in the country, a woman who had mended broken bodies and saved lives countless times. But her steps faltered for just a heartbeat as her gaze found the familiar figure near the end of the hall. A slender girl sat in a wheelchair, head bent over a sketchbook, pencil gliding in quiet concentration. The girl's hair fell in soft waves over her shoulders, and the sunlight caught the faintest smile tugging at her lips as she shaded in the curve of a drawing. She was Lily, Meredith's only child, her greatest joy, and her deepest ache. Lily had been born with a rare neurological condition that left her unable to walk. From the moment she came into the world, Meredith had thrown every ounce of her skill, influence, and determination into finding a cure. World-class treatments, experimental therapies, surgeries so delicate they demanded weeks of preparation, all had been tried, and all had failed. Now, at 14, Lily carried herself with quiet grace, but her hope had thinned over the years. She no longer asked when she might walk. She no longer pressed her mother for answers. Instead, she poured her energy into her art, drawing worlds where she could run through meadows, dance under starlight, and chase the wind. And though Meredith's heart broke each time she saw her daughter's wheelchair, she forced herself to keep walking, hiding the ache behind her confident stride. The afternoon air was crisp, the kind that carried the scent of fallen leaves and hinted at winter's approach. Lily sat near the hospital's entrance, bundled in a soft scarf, her sketchbook balanced on her lap. She was shading the outline of a tree when a sound drifted through the noise of passing traffic, low, soulful notes from a harmonica. Her eyes followed the melody to a boy sitting cross-legged on the sidewalk. He was about her age, maybe a little older, wearing a faded hoodie and jeans that were frayed at the knees. His sneakers were so worn they seemed to be holding together out of sheer will. Yet his face carried a brightness that didn't match the roughness of his clothes. His fingers danced over the harmonica as if each note was a secret he was sharing with the air. When he noticed her watching, he grinned, a warm, open smile that erased the space between them. "You draw?" he asked, nodding toward her sketchbook. Lily hesitated, then turned it slightly so he could see. "Yeah. It's just something I do." "That's good," he said simply, studying the page as if her drawing was worth more than gold. "I'm Marcus." She learned he didn't go to school anymore, that nights were spent in shelters or under the awning of a closed store. He spoke about it without pity for himself, as if life was just something you kept moving through. And somehow, in that chill November air, their differences didn't matter. They talked about music and art, about favorite colors and strange dreams. By the time her mother's car pulled up, Lily realized something rare had happened. She had made a friend without even trying. It happened on an ordinary afternoon, the kind where the sky hung low and gray but the air felt gentle. Lily was parked near the edge of the park, sketching the outline of a fountain while Marcus sat on the grass, tinkering with his harmonica. She shifted in her wheelchair, trying to adjust her blanket, when she felt his gaze on her. "I could help you walk," he said, as if offering her a sip of water. Lily froze, then let out a short, incredulous laugh. "Marcus, my mom's a surgeon. I've had every therapy, every treatment, every miracle doctor you can think of. If they couldn't do it, what makes you think you can?" He didn't flinch. "They've been trying to fix what they think is broken. I'm not talking about that." He leaned closer, his voice low but sure. "You've never felt your feet before you used them. I can teach you that. I can teach you to wake them up." She studied him, unsure whether to be amused or offended. "You're not a doctor." "No," he admitted, "but I know what it's like to stand when everyone thinks you can't. Trust me, Lily." There was something in his eyes, not pity, not false hope, but a fierce, unshakable certainty, as if he could already see her standing. Against all logic, against years of disappointment, a small spark lit inside her. "Okay," she said finally, the word tasting strange in her mouth. "Show me." Marcus smiled, and for a moment, Lily felt as though the ground beneath her had shifted, not enough to move her chair, but enough to make her believe it just might one day. The park was nearly empty, the sky painted in fading streaks of orange and purple. The air was cool, carrying the faint rustle of leaves and the distant hum of the city. Marcus stood in front of Lily's wheelchair, his expression calm but focused, like a coach before a big game. "Close your eyes," he said gently. She hesitated. "Why?" "Because you've spent your whole life looking at what you can't do. Tonight, you're going to feel what you can." He placed his warm hands lightly over her eyes. "Listen," he whispered. "Hear the wind in the trees. Feel the ground under your feet, even if you think you can't. Find your heartbeat. It's already telling you to move." Her breaths came slow and uneven. He helped her stand, his arms steady around her. Her legs shook instantly, but he didn't let go. "One thought at a time," he murmured. "Stronger than you think." She willed herself to push against the earth, to notice the faint sensation in her toes. Then, like a fragile thread pulling her forward, she felt it, the pressure of grass beneath her feet. Her body swayed, her knees threatened to give, but Marcus's grip was sure. "Now, just one step," he said. Her right foot slid forward, barely clearing the ground, and landed softly. The world seemed to stop. Another step followed, awkward but real. Her eyes flew open. Tears blurred the shapes around her, but she could see Marcus smiling through his own. In that moment, the park was silent except for the sound of their breath, and the quiet, impossible truth that Lily Hale was walking. The hospital corridor had never felt so long. Dr. Meredith Hale was reviewing patient charts when a sudden murmur rose from the nurses nearby. She turned, and froze. Down the hallway, her daughter was moving toward her. Lily's steps were unsteady, her hands out for balance, but each one was deliberate. The sound of her shoes brushing the floor was louder than any applause. Meredith's vision blurred as tears spilled down her cheeks. "Lily," she whispered, rushing forward, but stopping just short, afraid the moment might shatter if she moved too fast. Lily's smile trembled, her voice soft but steady. "He believed when no one else did." "Who?" Meredith asked, but she already knew. Yet when she looked around, Marcus was nowhere in sight. He had vanished as quietly as he'd appeared in their lives. Weeks passed before they found him again, sitting outside the same park where Lily had taken her first steps. This time, Meredith knelt beside him, not as a surgeon, but as a mother. She offered him more than gratitude, a room of his own, meals that didn't come from charity, and a chance to return to school. He accepted with a quiet nod, but the smile that followed said more than words ever could. Months later, as dawn broke, Lily and Marcus walked side by side along a quiet path, their shadows stretching long in the golden light. She no longer needed him to hold her up, yet he stayed beside her anyway. In the glow of that sunrise, it was clear, some miracles aren't born in operating rooms or found in textbooks. Sometimes, they're given by hearts brave enough to believe when the whole world has stopped trying.